Hello, my name is Rondelle Martin, and this is a tale from a dark-skinned woman. I do believe that society had somewhat of an impact on my self-confidence when I was growing up, because typically where I grew up, the women that were lighter skinned or that had a more ambiguous look to them were considered beautiful. And because I don't necessarily fit that mold of not only being lighter skinned, but shorter, petite, a certain body shape, I really did start to feel like I was lacking when it comes to physical appearance. And I really did start to feel down on myself, particularly in high school. Middle school, it kind of started, but high school, it got worse, because that's typically when people are really starting to date and get in relationships and things of that nature. And so when I would date or be in the dating scene, and guys even as young as high school age would be like, I only want a woman that looks like XYZ, and typically lighter skin, like I said, or ambiguous was within that description. And when I constantly did not fit that description, it really did start to affect my self-confidence. And I really did start to see myself as not being worthy and feeling like I'm not beautiful. So I would say from that standpoint, society did affect my self-confidence when I was growing up. And it took me many years, to be honest, to really get to a place where I can say that I have a healthy sense of self-confidence. And it's still a daily battle. It's still a daily job. It takes work. As far as media is concerned, it did play a role in how I viewed myself when I was younger, only because, again, like when you're constantly being shown images of what beauty is considered to be, or in movies, we all grew up seeing those princess movies where the love interest looks a certain way or the princess looks a certain way. So when you grow up seeing that and you don't fit that image, it will affect you in some way, shape, or form. And so I do think from that standpoint, the media affected how I viewed myself, because I did not see myself in the love interest. I did not see myself in the princess or the main character that was like the star of the show. So I do think that we can definitely get influenced by media. For me personally, I think that's as far as it went, because it was more so my day-to-day interactions with people that affected how I viewed myself. And some of those day-to-day interactions that really affected me was being told that I was pretty for a dark-skinned girl. I really cannot stand when I get told that, but I have been told that before. I still get told that to this day, thankfully not as often, but I definitely have been told that before. And it's really disturbing that that's even a phrase that's said, and that it's said in a way that I'm supposed to feel honored and like it's a compliment, but it's not a compliment. Not in my eyes, at least. But one of the ways that I built my self-confidence as a darker skinned woman is really just surrounding myself with people that are uplifting and that can speak life into me. So making sure that I had a solid circle of people around me. Thankfully, I was blessed, and I am blessed with parents that always told me how beautiful I am and always reminded me that I'm worthy and I'm attractive and so on and so forth. So that was one thing that really helped, having healthy friendships and family relationships, and then also just really tying into my sense of self-worth, not so much relying on what other people say, like, yes, that is important, but really honing in on what I believe about myself and working on that. But nowadays, navigating society as a darker skinned woman versus when I was younger, it is a little different for me. When I was younger, my parents are from Guyana, South America. And so I found that usually when people would see me, they'll be like, oh my gosh, you're pretty for a dark skinned girl. You look exotic, or whatever the case may be. And so I would kind of lean into that a little bit more and be like, yeah, I have Caribbean roots and this, that, the third, and try to be anything but just a darker skinned woman, and try to pull on other things about me that are more desirable, quote unquote, right? And so nowadays, I just really lean into being a darker skinned woman. I don't try to amplify certain parts of me to appear to be more exotic or appear to be more attractive, or, to appear to just be different. I really lean into it. I hold it up with pride. I love my darker complexion. I'm not as ashamed of it anymore, and I'm not looking for validation, like I said, and I'm just grateful to have those healthy relationships that have been in my life for decades and have been able to speak into me and remind me, like, you're beautiful, you're more than just your skin complexion, and you don't have to see it as a bad thing, it's a blessing. And so having those relationships really helped me, on top of honing into how I feel about myself, and then just really realizing like I don't have to try to be something that I'm not, and I don't have to try to impress people on something that's so like almost like I'm reaching for it to be impressive. Like I said, you know, really back in the day I used to really pull on my Caribbean heritage, or you know, pull on this or pull on that to try to be like, well, hey, see, I'm not just a darker skinned woman, I have something, you know, special about me. But it's like, no, like this is who I am, take it or leave it. It is what it is. That's just where I'm at now. When it comes to dating, I do feel that darker skinned women still get overlooked more than their lighter skinned counterparts, because it still very much is a beauty standard to be lighter skinned in the dating scene particularly. And so I feel like when it comes to darker skinned women, we either have to have like a ridiculously perfect body, or we have to have like, you know, a looser curl pattern to our hair. There has to be something about us that just stands out so much and is quote unquote exotic or special, that gives us the same amount of attention and love and affection as our lighter skinned counterparts. And if not, we are usually viewed as the type that are going to put in the work, roll up our sleeves and get our hands dirty and be ride or die and extra loyal and just so grateful to get attention, that we typically are approached, in my experience and in my observations, with less respect. We're approached with an attitude of like, you should be grateful that I'm talking to you. We're usually approached from an over-sexualized position. And again, this is just my experience, but I very much do believe that darker skinned women do have it harder in dating. It's not impossible, but there are different barriers that we have to jump through. There's different hoops that we have to get through in order to reach a healthy relationship. And it really is sad that that's just what it is, but it's reality. And I know I've had men flat out tell me like, hey, I date darker skinned women because they are more willing to put in the work. They are more loyal to me. It's usually a very self-centered approach to dating versus what I've noticed with my lighter skinned friends or lighter skinned counterparts. They're usually getting approached from a standpoint of like, I want to be there for you, or I want to serve you. I want to be in your life, and it will be an honor for me to be your man. Versus the darker skinned woman, it's like, hey, I'm here. You should be grateful. Come on, like put in the work, and it is what it is. Just be happy that I'm even talking to you. So what I would tell my younger self when it comes to self-love, confidence, and being a Black woman is that we have to love ourselves as Black women, particularly as darker skinned Black women. We have to love ourselves. We have to do the internal work to figure out what are some triggers that we have, what are some obstacles that we are battling with internally that are keeping us from seeing our worth and seeing our value. And you don't ever want to doubt yourself. Yes, the journey might be hard. Every day you're not going to feel like you are worth $1 million, but you are priceless. And do not let anybody take your crown off your head or shift your crown. Hold your head up high, do the internal work, and really just get to a place where even if nobody else tells you, that you love yourself and you know that you are worthy and you are an original and nobody else can do it like you, and you are here for a reason. So that's what I would tell my younger self. Fix your crown, hold your head up high, and keep walking with confidence and boldly as a Black woman.